Fellow citizens, nearly 100 years ago, the representatives of the original 13 states in General Congress assembled, appealing to the supreme judge of the world for the rectitude of their intentions, solemnly and in the name of the people, published and declared to the nations of the earth that they were and of right ought to be from thenceforth free and independent. And for the support of this declaration, from the firm reliance on the protection of the divine providence, they mutually pledged to each other their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. Today, at the anniversary of that proud declaration, we meet to rejoice and celebrate the day which gave birth to American liberty. Then, the nations of the old world heard this declared purpose of the mere handful of people comprising a few distant colonies of Great Britain with scarcely a passing notice, and deemed it but the arrogant assumptions of a young schoolboy who had grown too big for his boots, soon again to be brought down from his lofty soaring to the humble and penitent recognition of King George's sovereign authority. Today, fellow citizens, we are the heirs of a glorious inheritance. Here, this land of promise, America, throws open her broad acres, her magnificent rivers, her inexhaustible mineral wealth, her vast forests, her beautiful lakes, her hills and mountains and fertile plains, inviting and welcoming all who may come to enjoy with us the inestimable boon of civil and religious liberty. And it is meet and proper that we should remember and celebrate the anniversary of American independence with appropriate ceremonies. I glory in the privilege of celebrating this day as an American citizen. We are all American citizens here. This is the land of our choice, and here, on common footing with equal rights to all, we meet not as Germans, not as Norwegians or Scotchmen or Swedes or Yankees, but as Americans. I would have the day remembered in the booming of cannon, the ringing of bells, the firing of crackers, the whizzing of rockets, the smell of gunpowder, the beating of drums and flinging out of stars and stripes to the breeze from every housetop, singing psalms of rejoicing and making the air ring with loud huzzahs. But my fellow citizens, from whatever nation we claim our origin, it is a grand privilege that we now enjoy as one people under the protection of one flag with one accord, to hail the day that heralded forth the genius of American liberty. How grand has been the march of progress during these 100 years. From 2 or 3 million people, we have increased to 50 million. Rapid means of transportation and travel have brought us near neighbors with our brethren on the Atlantic and the Pacific coasts, while the subtle magic of the lightning's breath flashes electric thought from continent to continent. Today, fellow citizens, our nation is at peace with all the world. No foreign invasion and no intestine war disturbs the march of our national progress. Nearer to our own time, and scarcely less interesting to us on this occasion of this union, was the Great War of the Rebellion, so fresh in the recollection of all of us. I need not recount to you the history of that mighty Civil War, which for nearly 5 years deluged our fair land with the blood of her own people, and which shook the civilized world. On the part of our national government, it was the great struggle for the preservation of that union which was established by our revolutionary fathers, and for the perpetuation of those principles of freedom and self-government which were transmitted and keeping to their posterity. The events of this last great struggle have scarcely passed into history, but are even now fresh on our minds. And I see before me today many who have borne the arms through the trying scenes of that last great contest, and carry the stars and stripes through many a hard-fought battle, until the glorious victory was wrought in the cause of liberty, which proclaims to all the world that a free people are capable of self-government, and which shows how dear to the hearts of the American people are those grand principles transmitted to us by our founders. Today, no slave can breathe the air of free America. The foul blot of slavery has been eradicated from the soil of our free republic. The bell which rang the peal of rejoicing for the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, has at last found an echo from the hearts of the American people, which proclaims liberty throughout all our land. You who have borne arms in your country's service and participated in the accomplishment of these grand results, and have aided in the decisive conflict which put down the gigantic rebellion against the best country which the world ever saw, and which has, we trust, finally and forever established the perpetual union of these states, may well be proud in the title of American citizen. No matter to what your land you owe your birth or parentage, no matter in what language you may have expressed your choice of country, whether America be the land of your birth or the land of your adoption, she is today your America. From the Atlantic to the Pacific coasts, from the Canadas to the Gulf of Mexico, we are all one united, free, and independent republic, and the share to which you have had in the perpetuation of the Union will ever be gratefully remembered by your posterity. We live in a most extraordinary age, and our lot is cast in pleasant places here on the banks of this beautiful Chippewa, where it mingles its water with the copious flow of the Eau Claire. Amid the industrious clatter of sawmills, we have set up our homes and helped to build and set up our beautiful city of Eau Claire. Here, in the healthful atmosphere of the great Northwest, a wide field of opportunity opens to the magic touch of labor, skill, and industry. During the short period of my 10-year residence in Eau Claire, I have noticed with admiration and surprise the marvelous growth of our city. It seems but yesterday that I made my first visit to this place, which was then in winter, connected to the outer world by a long 90-mile stage route by way of Sparta. Coming here in winter, when the river was frozen up, I had opportunity, after close residence of several months in the valley, to feel and observe the impulses of the people on opening up of better means of intercourse with the rest of humanity. and the more genial rays of the approaching summer sun, aided by copious showers of spring, unlocked the waters of the Chippewa from her icy bonds. The inhabitants of our village congregated upon the banks of the river to see the first steamboat of the season winding its toilsome way up the swift-moving current. And its coming was greeted with a waving of handkerchiefs and loud huzzas, and a feeling akin to the first dawn of freedom took possession of our soul, and everybody felt like shaking hands and saying, "How do you do?" again. Since then, we have grown apace. Our population has largely increased. Schoolhouses, churches, manufacturing mills, bridges, public buildings, private dwellings have risen steadily before the increasing demand of necessity. The restless cry of "Westward ho!" has brought the locomotive to our door and placed us midway between Milwaukee and St. Paul on the airline to our seal fisheries in Alaska. The telegraph places us in hourly communication with the whole civilized world, and we may already imagine the shades of Horace Greeley crying out to us in our Wisconsin homes, "Go west, young man, go west." But prudence demands that I should not weary your patience with a long address. The day, the occasion of our coming together, invites us to join the festivities prepared. Others more gifted are to address you in the language of your homes. And I must not trespass upon your time that you have kindly allotted to me. Let us today, on this 99th anniversary of American independence, strengthen and renew our allegiance, which we as freemen owe to this grand Republic of the United States, whose foundation stones have been laid and cemented deeply in the hearts of liberty-loving people, whose walls have been reared high and strong against the retreating forces of tyranny and oppression, crowning the spacious dome of the blue arch of the heavens above, lighted with God's clear sunlight of freedom, and from the summits of whose battlements the stars and stripes float in the pure air of liberty. The progress of the world is slow. It is only by examining long periods of time that any advancement can be seen. Particularly, this is so with government. The development of new ideas is gradual, and even when thoughts become convictions, some time elapses before they are seen in human actions. Injustice and oppression and wrong may exist, and people will labor long under their burdens before they will attempt to relieve themselves of the load. But in time, convictions become actions, and then are shown those mighty convulsions which, when they affect the object for which they are invoked, are termed revolutions. Revolutions thus indicate the station reached in the world's advance. The anniversary of an event in one of the grandest revolutions in history we are on this day met to celebrate. To some, its characteristics, features, and the lessons they teach, the inheritance it has left us, the means to preserve and perpetuate it, I would, for this short time, call to your attention.